Good morning. Hope you had a good night last night. I received a comment on one of my other videos, which I wanted to say thank you for. Also, welcome to the channel. I'm glad you came and are checking out my stuff. So I started at 380 pounds, and I'm at 229 as of this morning. But I shaved my beard when I hit my first goal of 225. That was always the initial goal I set for myself, because I didn't know. I mean, when you're that heavy, my thought was, okay, I'll just pick something and go for it, because anything I picked seemed arbitrary anyway. So 225, that was my goal. So what I started out doing is I first took a look at my eating habits. I looked at when I was eating and what I was eating. I tried to cut out sugar, so I stopped drinking regular soda, and I dropped a lot of weight just from cutting out regular soda. Like, I was drinking a lot of Mountain Dew, a lot of root beer. I had switched to drinking Coke, just regular Coca-Cola every now and then as well, but I switched to doing the zero sugar Coke Zero with orange cream. The orange vanilla. It tastes like a creamsicle, kind of. Anyways, super tasty, but still not great. I mean, water was the ultimate goal and is the majority of what I drink now. But either way, cutting out sugary soda, that helped. I dropped, I want to say 35 pounds from that. But I was making other changes at the same time, so it's tough for me to say exactly how much I lost just from the soda, but it was significant. I stopped eating super late at night. I used to go to bed with a full stomach every night, so like 8:39, 10 o'clock, I'd still be eating, and then less than an hour after that, I'd be going to bed. Really, really bad habit. Cutting that out helped a ton. I stopped using cream and sugar, so like a Coffee Mate French vanilla creamer in the bottle, you know, the liquid stuff you keep in the fridge pouring. I used to use that to cool off my coffee so I could drink it faster, and because of the taste. And I'd add sugar on top of that, so that was really bad. Cutting that out, I dropped a lot. And then Eva's fascinated by something. And then, let's see. Oh, I stopped fast food. That was another big thing that I did. Thinking of like the eating habits aspect of things. So there's three aspects of this that I did. The first is what I'm talking about now. The food I ate, when I ate, and how much I ate. And then the second aspect is I already take Eva, my dog, out for walks and stuff, and she needs to use the restroom. So I started putting on a backpack with 10 pounds in it. I took a water jug, like a gallon water jug, and filled it up with tap water, and then taped the top of it so it wouldn't leak. And then I just had that in a backpack. And so I would wear that and walk around. The next step up I did is I bought those ankle weights. Now you probably could not go as crazy as I did. I went with the highest I could get at the time, so like I got at the time the highest I could find. I'm sure it's, if you look, you may be able to find heavier ones, but I found the heaviest were a set that's 20 pounds total, and it's 10 pounds for each ankle. And I bought 2 pairs of that, and I actually for a few days. Okay, I'm a little bit of a dork, but for a few days I had both sets where I was wearing one set on my ankles and the other set I was wearing on my wrists, so I looked like I was pretending to be Mega Man. And anyways, it was, I laughed at myself, so I'm sure somebody looking at me laughed as well. But so there was that. I bought those ankle weights. I actually only use one set at a time, and I stopped using them after I got my hernia diagnosis. I didn't want to exacerbate that. Oh, speaking of, I mentioned surgery. I have had 2 surgeries now. The first one was to fix an umbilical hernia, where they came in, they do 1, 2, and 3, and then they come in from the side and they put a mesh in there. And when I say 1, 2, 3, that's the little robot assisted thing. So there's the 3 arms from the robot that go in. Um, Faster recovery time, and a lot less. Well, anyways, it's a lot better now than it used to be, which is great. So I had that surgery done. That was about 6 months ago, August of 2022, and then August or September. I want to say August though. And then just last Wednesday, so March 1st, I had my inguinal hernia repair, and they went 1, 2, and 3 ports, and then they go down. Apparently, they can't come in from the side or through the bottom because that would cause even more problems. Similarly, they can't sew the mesh in place. They have to put it in place where it's half of a Velcro patch. It's the patch that, or the side that has all of the little sticky fingers, plastic side, that's stuck into the muscle, and then the flat side is protecting so that nothing comes out through that tear in the muscle. But they can't sew that in place, I guess, because that would cause problems. But no, I've not had any gastric bypass. That is not to say that if I didn't have the money at the time, that I wouldn't have gone that route, because I'm a pretty lazy person in a lot of ways, which is why I got to the weight that I was at, right? I wasn't doing anything, and I was stuffing my face. So I made lifestyle choices to change what I was doing, to not only fix a lot of the bad habits for eating, but also to start introducing weight and extra effort into what I was already doing. So I had my backpack with more weight. I had those ankle weights. Another thing that I do, or started doing, and I can't do this for a little bit, I'm waiting 2 weeks until my doctor's appointment after surgery so that I can get the all clear for unrestricted cardio. But for the last few months, post my previous surgery, I did as many squats and as many push-ups as I could tolerate each day. And I would do micro dosing of exercise in the day. So let's go back 2 weeks prior surgery. So my inguinal hernia had been hurting, but it didn't stop me from being able to exercise as long as I was careful with that side and as long as I didn't push it too much. So I would be walking anywhere from 3 to 5 miles a day, and I'd have my big backpack on, because that's the most effective way I found to carry weight. Now, go back 2 years, and I just had a Walmart backpack that was like, the $20 whatever day pack, that had the little tube for, you could have the Camelback attachment in there, and I would just throw that gallon of water in there. And I did that for a few weeks, and then I got those ankle weights, and then I started wearing ankle weights, and then in my backpack I started adding more stuff to my backpack. It got to the point where that second pair of ankle weights that I bought, that was 10 pounds, 20 pounds in total, I had the gallon jug of water, and then I had that surrounded by those 2 ankle weights, so that was my 30 pounds, and I kept ramping up. So my backpack was getting heavier and heavier. Or I should say the weight I was carrying was getting heavier and heavier. I then took that backpack and I ripped the straps in adding weight, so I had to find something new. So I took that backpack and set it to the side. I tried to repair the strap as best I could, but I use it to carry Eva's outdoor toys now. I figure it's just a sack at this point, right? Like, it's not really a backpack. But either way, I got a vest that was a weighted vest, and it has these tubes. There's 5 on the front and 5 on the back, and then 2 on the sides. And you can slide these cylindrical sandbag weights that are 10 pounds each into each one of these little things, and then it has Velcro that comes down the top to seal it real tight so that it doesn't shake around. And there's 2 straps, so you can go like that and it holds on around the sides. And I used that for a few months. That thing I had some difficulty with because it compresses your chest with the front weight, and that made it difficult for me to breathe. And so I stopped using that because I didn't like that it made it tough to breathe. But I used that for a time. And if I could find a way to balance the weight without it pulling the straps up, because what I started doing is just using the 2 side ones so that the middle part over my chest wasn't compressed, but that imbalanced the weight, so it's too much on the back, and it started to pull the whole thing up and start to compress into my chest and into my neck, and I didn't like that. So that in conjunction with the issues I had with it, with the weight and the breathing thing, I stopped using that. I got an I'm gonna butcher this name. It's an Osprey Atmos or Atmos Osprey 65. It's a backpacking backpack, like Boy Scout, like 50 miler, pack it in, pack it out style of backpack. Eva, here. And the great thing about it is that it has a little mesh thing that comes into the belt and straps and all of that that connects, so that way it supports really well and it can carry a lot more weight, and it distributes it. Excuse me, it distributes it better. So that's been awesome. Let's see. Okay, so just a quick recap. It was portion control, when I ate, what I ate. I started ramping up my physical exertion, trying to incorporate into my day, adding extra weight. So like, I'm already walking my dog, so I'm going to carry a backpack doing that, right? And as I was losing weight, I was trying to add weight. My mentality, my thought process being, if my frame can already carry 380 pounds, then if I get down to 370 and I throw that 10 pounds in a backpack, then I'm still carrying the exact same weight, but now I'm burning more because it's excess as opposed to just... Anyways, the problem I was trying to fix with all of this was, as you lose weight, you're carrying less, so you're actually burning less calories, fewer calories, right? Because it's easier to carry 200 pounds versus 300 pounds. So if you weigh 300 pounds and you run a mile, and then you weigh 200 pounds and you run a mile, you have burned less calories, fewer calories, right? Mathematically, there's no way around that, right? So my thought was, if all I'm doing is walking, because it hurt to run, right? So if all I'm doing is walking, then how can I get myself to keep burning effectively? And that was what I came up with, is add weight as I lost weight. Again, that's a balancing act though, so you gotta be careful about not ramping up too quickly. You don't wanna mess up your back, you don't wanna mess up your neck, you don't wanna hurt your joints, right? Like, so be very, very mindful of your body. I was trying to be very, very mindful and aware of my body and what's going on. So there's that. And then the third aspect was microdosing exercise throughout my day. And that was sort of an idea that I didn't have a term for. My sister, thank you, sister, for keying me onto that term. I'd heard of microdosing. I had heard of exercise, but never microdosing exercise together. But that's something I've been doing. I'd work out 3, 4, 5 times a day. I work from home, so when I say workout, I bust into doing some squats and some push-ups, and then do calf raises, things like that. So wearable weight to increase the effort each day, microdosing exercise, and then portion control and food control. But if I had had the money and I went back 2 years, I would have happily thrown that money at a doctor and said, hey, cut me up, make it so that way my decisions don't matter, and surgically fix my mistakes by sucking out all the fat and make my stomach small and force it so that, right? But all of that, if I didn't change myself, if I didn't change here, I never would have had that stick. It never would have been successful, and I would have been worse off than I am today, because I would have had that surgery, I would have paid for it, I would have gone through the recovery, I would have lost the weight, and it would have all come back. Because I would have still ate the same way. I would have pushed, every time I ate, I would have pushed it. And so my stomach would have stretched. And it would be really small to start, but then after a year of doing that, it eventually would get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, to the point where I'm right back to where I was. But even worse, because now they've removed all of that, and so now there's a lot less to work with, and that's stretching, right? It's the balloon that you keep filling it with air. Eventually something's got to give, right? It's the same idea with your stomach. I'm no professional, I'm no medical expert. This is just my crude understanding of it, I guess. But anyway, this video has been going on for a while, but as you can tell, I'm a little bit passionate about this, and really excited and happy that to have a question about it, and I love sharing my story. So thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for hanging out with me. Hope you have an awesome start to your week, and as always, catch you on the next one.